Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. It's super early in the morning. The heat wave is over, but I need to try to harvest a few things super early this morning so I can work on some kitchen projects. Come with me. We are headed over to the neighbors. I have completely neglected my neighbor's garden this past week. It's just been way too hot. So I've only been doing things that I absolutely had to do, and I wasn't here. I didn't check it out. So let's see what's going on over here. So feels like we got a little rain last night because my feet are soaked. Okay. Let's get that back up. Yeah, this garden needs some TLC. My wonderful neighbors, though, looks like have been out here kind of trying to keep it cleaned up in my absence. So that's always a good thing. We kind of work together at this thing here. So trying to give these plants a little more support. Man, there's a massive tomato back here. Whoa, that thing's huge. It might be one of my biggest ones yet this year. So we got a nice red one here. I haven't been picking the green beans, but I might pick a few over here. I can't believe these beans are still coming in. Planted these beans in April, and they are still coming in like crazy. Or there's even dragon tongues over here. Man, so many beans. And again, I haven't picked beans over here. It's been well over a month. But I told the neighbors to just enjoy them. Don't worry about me. But it's just the two of them. So they don't eat very much. Let's get this hair put up. I thought I was coming just for cucumbers. These bush steaks are taking off. Like all at once, they're just getting this huge growth spurt. So they're very happy. Let's see. Massive beans over here. Massive. Oh, I just picked beans 2 days ago. This was not my plan. Give it just a little more support there. See what we got going on over there. Oh my goodness. I have winter squash going crazy. I have to show you this. So in the garden here, you can see quite a few things are starting to kind of die out. And then there's some things that are like really taking off. So these are my winter squash. So they're going up the trellis, over the trellis. Some of them are panning out this way. And then they're coming back into the bed here with my peas and coming back around this way. Wow, these things are huge. But let's follow it on around here. So then the squash is behind the bed here. The bees are taking care of their business, pollinating. So then the squash goes this way. So here it comes across all the way to this bed here. I guess it's on its way out the garden. But this is exactly what the squash did last year as well, this particular variety of squash. But I believe it's putting on a few fruit this year. And it's early enough in the season that we will be able to harvest it. Like here's one of them right here. Look at that. You see that right there? That's one of these squash plants or fruits from the plants that's just really doing well. Oh my goodness, I didn't know it was going this way too. It's going this way over here. And there's a little baby fruit on it right there. Mosquitoes are biting me, and then it goes that way. So this squash is massive. Tomato plant that's fallen over. You know, I might just cook these today. I've canned so many. So we might just have a few beans today. I have some wax yellow beans in here. They're called Gold Rush. They have actually grown very well this year. Apparently the bugs like them too. I'm just surprised at how many tomatoes are still on these plants. I mean, it's like it's the first of the season for them. Plenty of time for another nice wave of tomatoes to come in. I just picked cucumbers yesterday, but I can't tell it. And the squirrels took that beautiful red tomato and wreaked havoc with it. At the end of the day, the squirrels really haven't been that bad this year. I mean, I can count probably on one hand how many tomatoes that I know of that they've taken from me this year. Not that I want them to have any, but it is far less than usual. Man, look at those beans. Tell you what, beans love GreenStalks. They've always done well in GreenStalks, even when I accidentally plant them, because that's what this was, an accident. Didn't mean to plant beans in here, but they have just taken off and are doing wonderful. And since they're not supposed to be here, I keep forgetting I need to harvest them. I brought the wrong basket for beans. All my baskets are in the house full of produce that I need to manage or take care of. I mean, like, I really did just harvest tomatoes and peppers off of this tower yesterday. But I forgot the beans. I wasn't thinking beans. I was thinking it's 110 in the shade and I needed to hurry. Okay, now I have the beans. Oh, and I gotta get up. Whew. Another flush of tomatoes coming on these as well. Some little baby ones on there. Picked peppers off of here yesterday. And of course, I miss some cucumbers, and that's why I'm really out here. I always miss them, and then I come back and they're big enough to be canned. It's like they're hiding under the leaves on purpose, trying their best to get away from me. And I'm going out of town for work again next week. So I need to pick kind of heavy this week, or should I say today, this weekend, so that my mother and the rest of my helpers don't have to sweat about not picking as many vegetables in the harvest and such. Now, we're not going to talk about this broccoli. Yeah, I got to take care of some broccoli. My broccoli is huge again and out of control, flowering everywhere. We'll have to take care of that another day. Since it looks like we're having beans for dinner, I probably should pick a few more to make sure I have enough. Man, look at this. Look at that. I'm pulling them off like I'm pulling grapes off. It's just so many. Off of 8 plants. Cicada. Wow. There is a cicada in my garden. I didn't think it was time for those. Now, I know it's not supposed to be as hot today, but it's definitely humid out here. So even if the temperature's down and that humidity's up, it's still unbearable. So hopefully it'll cool on off today and tomorrow into early next week. All right, I think I have it. Since I was just here yesterday, so I should have it. Let's get in the house and work on these vegetables. All right, I'm back in the garden. I got everything inside the house. I've started processing some of those vegetables, and now I'm back out in the garden, and I am going to try to finish working on some of my towers. Last weekend, I did a ton of work out in the garden. I removed all of the collard greens that were in here, but I ran out of time and I didn't get a chance to finish it. So here's a couple of videos of me taking care of this tower as well as one of the towers on my patio. In this video here, I am removing all of the collard greens from the top 2 tiers of this tower. I'm pulling them out. There were none really good enough to save for cooking. Once I moved to the patio, I removed these greens, but these greens I was able to cut them down and preserve them for a later date. But I was able to get them all out of the tower. At the time when I removed all of those collard greens and anything else that just wasn't producing in this tower, I went ahead and added compost, and I went ahead and added fertilizer, and I kind of loosened up the topsoil in that process, but I just never got back to planting anything. So I have a few things sitting here ready to go because you got to keep that harvest coming. And so we are going to add a few items to this tower. So as I'm thinking about this tower and what I'm going to want to do with it next, I want to do a couple things. One, I want to extend the harvest in this tower. And I believe I'm going to take this top tier inside into my grow space when the weather gets too bad for it to be out here. And as I think about what do I want from a fresh eating standpoint, And tomatoes is something I normally can't get in the winter. So we are going to grow some micro dwarf tomatoes just in these top pockets so I can pick it up and take it indoors and we can have tomatoes throughout the winter months. And so I am going to, if I have any seeds, I'm going to start from seeds, some Tiny Tims and some orange hat. There may be 1 or 2 seeds in there at most, but here they are. And we're going to add these to this top tier. I may have waited so long, I need to loosen that soil back up again. But I'm going to make sure that I'm being very, you know what? I changed my mind already. I am going to put radishes in the top, and I'm going to put the Tiny Tims in this next layer. And again, I've already added fertilizer. I've already added compost to these pockets. They've been ready to go. I just wasn't ready to go. And we're coming off of a heat wave. And my shaky fingers, shaky hands. Okay. So we are going to put in 2 seeds in each one of these pockets. So there's going to be 6 pockets in all. We're going to do 3 Tiny Tims and 3 orange hats. I keep saying micro dwarf tomatoes. So a micro dwarf tomato only grows to just under a foot tall, super heavy producers, but teeny little plants. And these will be grape-sized tomatoes. So Tiny Tims and orange hat. Honestly, it's not like I need to mark them because once they come up, it's going to be super obvious what an orange hat is versus a Tiny Tim. Orange hats are obviously orange, and the Tiny Tims are red. All right, up here in the top, we are going to put our radishes. Now, we don't eat a lot of radishes, but I do love a radish cut up every now and then into a salad or as a side. So we're going to add some of those back into the tower. Some of this soil done kind of settled here. That's a root that I left in there. So we're going to do 2 different types of radish. We're going to do the purple plum. And we're going to do French breakfast. Now, radishes you can plant closer together. And radishes like cool weather. So I am going to put, let's see how many I'm going to put in here. These are purple plums. I don't want them too close together, but I think I can get about 4 to a pocket. That worked out perfectly. And now we will work on French breakfast. French breakfast is a little bit smaller than the purple plums, but I'm still only going to put about 4 to the pocket. If I can control my hands, I'll put it that way, my fingers, and how I drop the seeds. All right. Supposed to be 4 to the pocket. That was probably more like 6 to the pocket, but I didn't want to put the seeds back. And these radish should be very, very happy growing in this space here. And as the weather is starting to cool down, they should do really well in this space. You know what? I think I want to grab some of my worm castings because the dirt has settled in this pocket. Let's grab some worm castings. So I have some worm castings. I'm just going to sprinkle on the top of each one of these pockets for both the tomatoes as well as the radish. I think worm castings has an NP&K of 111. So, I mean, it's not very potent. It's always good in the garden. And I will be cutting some of these tomato vines, because that's what it is, back, because even though it's nice and green, there are no blooms, no tomatoes, no nothing. And I don't want them shading out my top pockets now that I'm replanting them. So we're going to have to do a little bit of maintenance on the rest of this tower while I'm out here. All right, those top two pockets are done. And boy, did I make a mess. Isn't that dirty? But I have a whole nother row of pockets here that could use something in them. So I have another tier here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pockets, because this still has a cucumber plant trying to grow a little bit, which we will leave and let it do its thing. But I have 5 pockets. Let's find something for 5 pockets. Can never have too much lettuce. So we're going to put some Merlot in this one. Merlot is a type of lettuce. Here's the Merlot. I also have some butter crunch here. So let's add some butter crunch to this pocket here. Now this is a transplant. I've been growing this butter crunch inside for the last, I don't know, 3 weeks or so. So let's get this added to the pocket. If I can get it out. And honestly, they need to be thinned. So here's a butter crunch. Nice root system. There's actually 2 here, but I'm planting it anyway. I'm not going to thin it out. Just going to stick them in this pocket and let them do their thing. Butter crunch in a pocket and happy. I need to cover up the Merlot. So I'm going to use the worm castings. I tell you what, I'm going to put butter crunch in these next 2 pockets as well. Never can have too much butter crunch. And they desperately want it out of this container. Wait a minute, let me see how many I got. I may need to thin this one. It just may be too many. Let's see what we got going on here. Yeah, I think I'm going to separate this. Butter crunch is for sure one of my favorite lettuce. So there we go. Only thing left to do is cut these tomato plants back. So let's take care of that next. Okay, so what are we taking off? There's not one tomato, not one bloom. So we're going to take it completely out. I'm just going to cut it at the roots, call it a day. Now I am kind of in a shade here, but I have some volunteer plants growing right here. You see that flower? I didn't put that there, but that's where it wants to be. And so I am going to oblige and I'm going to leave it right there. Or excuse me, I'm going to let it live, not leave it right there. I'm going to let it live, but I'm going to move its home. It's going to live somewhere else. Hello, little plant. Well, that one was in there. Oh, I killed it. I killed the little plant. Oh no. All right, there's some more though. There's another one right here. These seeded themselves in my patio. I didn't mess this one up though. I got the roots and all. And let's put that in here. New home. That's exactly what I did with this one. I just pulled it right off the patio and stuck it in the tower. It should be much happier here. And I have one more home here for something. What are we going to put here? Now, I am pulling these tomato roots out. Typically, I just cut them back. I don't pull them out. But we're going to go ahead and get those out. Trying not to lose all the dirt in the process. And we are going to add another flower. Another patio flower. Now, granted, these are going to definitely die back this year as soon as the weather changes completely. But at least it's got a home for now. So I think this tower has been refreshed. I still have quite a few peppers in here. Peppers are doing well. I'm saving a couple tomato plants because it looks like they're blooming. I have one cucumber plant, definitely peppers everywhere. Some flowers, and I've added some tiny Tims, so some micro dwarf tomatoes. I've added some lettuce, as well as some radishes. So this tower is completely filled out again. Well, I've been working hard today. I think we're going to call it here. Thank you for joining me as I'm doing some of my garden chores. And until next time, I will see you back here again really soon. Bye.